Well, look at all these beautiful people. I love this. So thanks everyone for coming on your Sunday. And Mama Bear and Papa Bear are here too. So thanks for jumping in. So we are just so excited to start another year with our calls. We had a great turnout last year, and it was our first year doing these, and we're just excited to start a new year of our platinum calls. So this year right now we're just going to kind of talk about what you guys liked from last year, and maybe if you have some suggestions or new ideas. We have some too, so we'll kind of talk about those too. But just welcome, and we're happy to have you here.
Happy New Year, everybody. This is a really big group. It might be one of our biggest groups, so we're super excited. Just kind of before we get going, this is going to be probably our most casual call of the year, just because we want your feedback, we want your ideas so we can kind of structure the rest of our year. But what we wanted to share with all of you guys is we really want to develop connection and community, and with that comes great communication and being honest. It has been brought to our attention several times throughout the year that a lot of times people are feeling like they can't tell us everything, like you can't share everything with your coach because you're thinking that we may judge, or we're perfect, or we do things perfectly all the time, and we don't. We're very human like all of you guys, and so we want you to be vulnerable. We want you to be open and honest, and understand that the relationship that you have with your coach, as well as like this forum that we have, is a very safe space. We all learn and grow together through each other, and so we just wanted to express that. And we know it's odd sometimes because some subjects seem kind of taboo, or just you don't feel very comfortable expressing or asking for help. But the thing to remember is you're not alone. And once it comes up, then we can all kind of connect and share. And that is when growth really starts to happen. So we're going to open it up. If you have anything that you would like to say, remember, we kind of want to keep it focused in terms of either feedback from our calls last year or ideas that you want to explore this year. Just raise your hand, and then Corinne will call on you.
Don't be shy. Okay, Amy, go ahead.
Okay, I may have to drop, but so I want to get my question out first, which is the reason why I may have to drop. Just like juggling prep with kids and how to explain to your kids that like mommy needs to work out, and just like my 4-year-old is like really upset when I go to the gym and leave him, and like he wants to play, and it just like it tugs on my heartstrings. And I know that like, we all juggle families or relationships or whatnot, but just more on that and maybe specifically around like kids and how to make it more like fun and include them, and all that kind of stuff would be cool to talk about.
That's a really good one. I like that.
That's very good. Thank you, Amy.
Subi.
Hey.
Hi.
I wasn't able to join many of the calls last year. I want to say I only joined about 2, which is sort of embarrassing. So sorry. But positive relationships around food. I don't know if that was ever brought up and I missed it. But I'd love to like get advice on like having better relationships with food. And even talking about like how prep can sometimes bring on that negative, relationship with food. So just like, an open forum around food during prep, during off season, that'd be really great.
Another great one.
Yeah, thank you, Subi. And just to let everybody know, all of the calls from last year are on our YouTube channel, on Fit Body Fusion, the YouTube channel. So if you want to go back, you can always, you can always reference those and go. We do post those. We typically will wait about an hour because we really want you guys to be on these calls if you can, just because it's that community again. So, you know, when we have our calls, we'll usually post it within a week of when we have that call, but they're all there from last year. So if you want to go back, we had some really, really good, some good ones.
Mhm. Jamie, what you got?
So I would love to do a talk on kind of the basics of weighing, measuring food, macro tracking, and meal timing. Because I know there's still some people that struggle with this a little bit and maybe don't always speak up because they feel like, okay, this is a basic question. But I do think like little things like, you know, how do you make sure you're choosing off of MyFitnessPal, you know, something that's equal to what I'm actually doing. So if I'm doing weighing cooked versus raw, you know, if there's the green check mark's not there, like things like that. Like, how do I make sure that what I'm logging is correct, that I'm weighing and measuring it correctly, and that I'm doing my meal timing optimally?
I really love that one because I've been noticing sometimes that looking at some food logs, there's like 0, 0, 0 zeros on everything. And I'm like, wait a second. So yeah, that's a really important one to kind of go off of and talk about. Agree. Like that. Carrie, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, you can't see me because I'm a hot mess.
Oh,
but
there you are. Like,
so I have so I think we need to go over. I work 12-hour shifts, and sometimes I can't eat within that 3 to 4 hour window because of the work I do. Maybe go over how we can get something in that time frame during that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
What do you do? Just curious.
I'm a respiratory therapist, and it's a very busy hospital. And there's just times where I'll go 4 hours and I'm starving, but I can't eat. I don't want to put a protein bar on my pocket because I'm with nasty things. So I just want to figure out how I can get something in that so I'm not so famished by the time I sit down, and I eat so fast and then I get sick to my stomach.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a hard one, Carrie. And I think that would
That's hard.
that would probably be a really good forum for people just to offer what they do. Like I know I have a lot of clients that are nurses,
I was gonna
and
say the same thing.
that comes up. So it comes up all the time. And I, you know, I could sit over here and be like, have a protein bar, protein shake. And I know it just doesn't happen that way. So I think a call like that would just, so we can pull in all of our clients, you know, that you guys have similar working experiences would be really great. So we could kind of put together a toolbox of some sorts. Because as a coach, I would love to know too.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
we'll add that to the list. I think that's a good one.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Subi, do you have another question?
Yeah, I was just gonna say Mythbusters. I just got on, like I go through TikTok now, and like there's so many like fitness Mythbusters and like things that like people are pushing out into the fitness world that aren't true. And so maybe we could have like a call on like, you know, yes, this is true, this isn't true. This is a myth, this isn't, like,
Mm,
I don't know.
That's
I
a good
love
one.
that. That's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah. That's a fun one.
I like
Yeah.
that.
There's too much on TikTok, I tell you. It's like I will be on there for like hours.
I like that. Yeah, Irene, I think, was next. You're
Trying
muted.
to get my microphone work. No, I was just playing with the app. I don't have any questions, but if you want me to give a couple of sentences, I'm actually extremely happy with working with Korean last year, and there has been a life-changing event in December of 2022. As I was competing in Olympia, my ex-husband texted me that he's getting remarried, which means that I don't have to pay alimony anymore. So I'm a free woman in every little aspect of it. And I'm so excited about the new year and what we can achieve. And speaking about not being able to eat on schedule, I'm a physician. So I truly find it easier for physician to be able to get, 10, 15-minute break and go eat. And we do have free physician lounge where we can get food like next to like immediately. So I don't have that problem necessarily, but sometimes when we work evening shifts, I just get munches at 10 o'clock. Like usually I'm at bed by 9, but if I work evening shifts, I get munches at 10, and they are very hard to control. So if anybody has a trick how to spread your meals, or maybe what to do at 10 o'clock when it's your bedtime, but you still have to work a couple of hours, I would appreciate that hint. But you guys are awesome, all of you. I really enjoy working with Corinne and the group.
Thank you, Irene.
Sure.
Okay, Danette, and then Kelsey, I think, was after that.
Yeah, hi. I have actually two. I just started working with Anne and with Fit Body Fusion a couple of months ago. So I've only been able to attend one or two of these calls, and it was toward the end of the year. So the two that I'm thinking about is one, just if it's your first bikini competition, what is it like? What's it going to be like? I was in a different federation before, the INBA, and I did sports model. So I've had 2 competitions under my belt for sports model, but bikini, it's a whole different world. So would love just what to expect. Like Supri was saying, what are some of the myths you would hear just related to bikini and that particular group? Just like what to expect. And then the other is, I think Jamie did this last year, just partner support. So my wife is supportive, but thinks this is very weird. And I've been working out for years and years and years. So the working out isn't the thing, but the stepping on stage in heels and a shiny bikini, it's very weird for her. And she tries not to judge, but I'm just trying to have good conversations with her about why I do this, why I love this. When we go into prep, what's going to happen. So yeah, I think those are the 2 topics. Thanks.
Danette, have you had an opportunity to go back and listen to the call that we did on partners?
I was on that one.
Were you? Okay,
I was
awesome.
just like, I love another one.
Okay.
I was hoping my wife could attend that, but she was out. So hopefully she'll be able to attend, or I'll help play the recording for her. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, and I think doing one every year on that, because we're always going to have new people coming in too, is probably a good idea. So
yeah,
we can add that.
absolutely. That was a really good one.
That was fun. All right, Kelsey.
Okay, so feedback, I was actually going to mention the relationship one. I loved listening to that one. I'd been competing for about 5 years by that point, and I think in the beginning that would have been extremely helpful, especially more so navigating with probably extended family outside of my partner, because my husband is extremely supportive, almost to a fault, where he just really, whatever I want to do, that's what our family, that's what we do. But in terms of like speaking about it with extended family members like my parents and things, that was definitely a challenge the first year of competing for me. A lot of culturally, it just in my family, that was again like a questionable thing. So they've since come around. So I think that conversation, yes, is hugely beneficial, especially for new people coming in. And then a couple that I thought of might be helpful would be like core movements that you can do in limited gyms for when we're traveling and things, like how you can take your, workout routine without maybe having to have your coach rewrite something for you because you're going out of town. To say, what are the things, like if I have these this is what my training cycle looks like. What are the core moves that I could do to replace that if I'm going to be working out in a hotel gym or something with limited access? And then just maybe show day expectations for this team specifically. Again, I've been competing for a lot of years. I've been on a couple different teams, and definitely the way each team or coach approaches a show day is very different. I've never had the kind of support that I have with Fit Body Fusion. So going into my first show, like what I had was completely different than what I expected just from my past experiences. And so I think, again, like having even a call, it's like, this is what you can expect from our team on a show day or even peak week leading up to a show day. I think is awesome because people that have either had switched from different teams or are new coming into that, it would be really helpful.
Yeah, those are great. Thank you, Kelsey.
Those are really good.
Yeah, I love those. I think Alicia was next, right? Hi. You're muted, babe.
Always a problem with that. Okay, so I have two ideas. One is serious, one is fun. And I'm sure we did this last year. I wasn't able to attend every single call, but maybe something around the athlete mindset and like how to prioritize your distractions. Like, for example, last year I was addicted to Instagram. It made me so crazy competitive with like no one, right? Like it was just like, it was like fuel, but it was so distracting. And so I like do not engage in Instagram anymore for any like looky-loo stuff. And my life has just like, I have like all this free time and like all this free mental space. And I feel like last year I had to do that, had to go through that so I could like figure that out in my own mindset, you know, like that doesn't work for me, you know, like that gets in the way of my goals. So I think like, I know not everyone is addicted to Instagram. I'm just using that as an example, but I think like when you start out in this sport, or even maybe just as a new member of the team, it's always good to do like that mindset check-in, because like someone else was mentioning, like with the food triggers and everything, like once you can sort of master what's coming in and out and like know like, oh, I can control this, I can't control that, and that kind of stuff. I just feel like it might be really helpful for like someone to just like a professional sort of go off a little bit more on how to achieve the athlete mindset. I know I just used 3 million words. And then my fun topic was bikinis. So I'm sure everyone is like, always has a million questions about bikinis. And I just thought if it's like your first competition or whatever, or you're unsure about bikinis, it might be cool to hear from like Margaret from Toxic Angels, for example, like to tell you like, what does it all really mean? What is a high cut front? What is a low cut front? What, you know, why doesn't pink look good on me on stage, but it looks great on me when I'm like in my normal daily life? Like that kind of stuff, because that figuring out your like sparkly persona in the bikini can be so hard to do. So those are my two ideas. Hopefully they can make the cut or not, it's okay. But those are my two ideas.
Yeah, figuring out the right bikini cut for me is a real challenge. So I'm really happy that you said that, Alicia, because it's been a challenge. And you know, blue brings out my eyes, but the pink I just love. So you know, how do we go about selecting color? That's a great topic.
You're gonna have to be on that call, Greg.
And to make you have the X, you know, really accentuate your X shape.
So that's a really, really good suggestion. I think we talked about that actually, didn't we, Natasha?
Yeah, I was going to say, Alicia, that's perfect. And we actually have that on our list. We definitely want to present to the group for all of our athletes competing on a budget, you know, what that looks like, what it means, because, you know, especially for a lot of our, you know, well, I wouldn't say just masters, but at the masters levels, you know, we have families, you've got children, you have all these other things going on. So Corinne, Ann, and I, we did put together a list. So we are going to ask Toxic to come speak. We also want to talk about, you know, other options for suits, if you can't afford to buy a brand new suit, makeup. We'll probably have, maybe LeBeau, some of the, different makeup people. And then we have on our team, we have some phenomenal coaches that have tutorials on makeup. So we are working on putting that all together, but we do want to present that to you guys as a call because it's so important. When you have found something that you really love to do, we want to make it possible and attainable and reachable for everybody. So thank you for that.
Natasha, let's add to that list on the how to compete on a budget, how to prioritize your expenses too. Really to be budget, it's really about being budget driven. Set a budget and then figure out, okay, if I have this amount of money to spend, what's most important to me? What does my coach think will make the most difference? And then figure out how to fit those in. So I think prioritization is really a key concept in that endeavor. And it also deals with show selection. So, traveling to a show where you are going to incur significant travel expenses is far different than staying local where you can stay at home and, what you can afford on that budget. So again, it's prioritization in that framework that I think will make a big difference.
I'll definitely.
And I would add to this list, not the budget part, but and I think Alicia was the one who kind of talked about this a little bit, but the three topics are resiliency, psychological safety, and vulnerability as mindset attributes for not just competing in a sport, but I think everybody on the call knows that part of our philosophy at FitBody is not just having this be a hobby, but have it be a lifestyle aspect that you are incorporating. Whether you're wanting to compete to be a pro card or whatever, the lessons that you learn in this are really, they're translatable to your life. And what's Jamie's favorite saying? How you do anything is how you do everything. And we can talk about some of those aspects of psychological safety, vulnerability, and resiliency as being really key concepts for how you go about your competing world.
Love that.
I love that. And I think that goes for everybody, whether you're an athlete or lifestyle transformation client. Yeah. Thank you, Papa Bear. I have that one down. That's awesome.
Love that. I lost track of who was next.
If you've already spoken, can you unraise your hand, please?
If you don't have a question, unraise your hand. Okay. Irene, do you still have a question? Or a
I
thought?
don't, but I can chip in a little bit. Somebody was asking about how you talk to your children about your competitions. Was that a question?
I think she was suggesting how do you explain to them why you compete? So you don't feel guilty about leaving them.
Because I started competing when my daughter was 13, and she was very ashamed of me wearing that bikini and going on stage and trotting that, stage. And she actually joined me once. It was my third competition, and she said she will never come again because I embarrassed her. It took me 6 years just to do what I love doing, day in and day out, until she understood that it's important for me to be who I am, and there's no shame in what I do because I do it with pride. And it's your uniform. It's nothing that that's not specific to the sport, and everybody wears the same uniform, and that's what you do to actually be judged on. And recently I think I won this battle. I think she's actually no longer ashamed of what I'm doing, but actually enjoying being part of this. So I think if your children are not the teenage years, they just need to see your consistency and persistence, and they eventually will understand that it's important for you.
I agree. That's beautiful. I love hearing that. Thank you. And then Consuela, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, but your hand is raised.
Hi. Yes, you said it correctly.
Hi. Okay, good.
Hi, everyone. So I have been with Fit Body Fusion for 3 months. looking to compete probably towards the end of the year. But I think over the last 3 months, I have been trying to figure out how to build a community within our community. I live on the East Coast, so right outside of Philadelphia. So, just trying to connect with other people on the team. Like I just randomly happened to click on someone that someone had tagged on IG, and I said, "Oh, hey, she lives 45 minutes from me. That's awesome." And to this day, I don't think she's seen the message yet. But, so just trying to figure out how to, connect with people in the area, and even when it comes to, supporting other teammates when they're doing local shows in my area, or even when I start competing. I know, as we were just discussing, competing on a budget, sometimes traveling is not always, an option. So, if I do local shows, just kind of having that local support system from team members, but also offering my support to individuals, competing in the area. So just, trying to figure out ways to, connect with others within our FBS family locally.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is, I know for Anne and Corinne and myself, that is something that stays at the top of our list. We talked about it last year, and it's going to be on the top of our list this year as well. So we created this forum, one way to connect. We also have a WhatsApp group. So if you're not on that, we can definitely get you added. If anybody wants to be added to that, just leave your phone number in the comments and we'll get you added to that. It hasn't been crazy active, but we would love for you guys to use that because it's just a more personal way to connect with one another, find out where people are. Everybody brings up just kind of random things on that forum, but we will definitely kind of keep that at the top of our list and try.
Natasha, one other thing I'll add to that is that I definitely think that's a great topic, but that's something we've been wrestling with internally at the internal staff level. It's something that I think we can help with a lot to just get out there with some things, but let's not walk by the fact that this whole Platinum group started with that exact desire, was to connect people. And I think what is being asked for is a more regional focus where you guys can connect with people locally. That's something we'll take back organizationally to help out. But I'm not saying that to say we shouldn't talk about the topic. I'm saying that's something we've been talking about for a while internally, and I think we can help. I have some ideas, and I know Jamie's got some ideas, and so more to follow on that. But I love the topic, and this is not the first group we've heard it from. So we've heard it from a number of different individuals who were looking for the same thing. And so anyway, I just wanted to validate that in a big way. It's something we want to fix from the Fit Body level for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll go with Sienna and then Soraya. I don't know who is first, but
hey y'all, Sienna. I am interested in knowing about stateside versus international shows. My first show that I went to was in Mexico, and then I moved here shortly after. And so wondering the difference between international shows versus like going back stateside. I'm originally I moved to Mexico from Atlanta. Anyways, just knowing the difference between like choosing a show stateside or in Central or South America. Anywhere, actually, it doesn't matter, but just knowing the difference.
yeah, we could talk about just different types of shows and how, like, I guess, how would we do that? Just like what the qualifications are and how do you do them? Is that what your question is?
So I'll start off and say I haven't competed yet.
Okay.
I am going to compete bikini and excited about it. I'm just I don't know how shows are chosen. I'm super new at this. I've been with Fit Body for 2 months. I was with a team before that, but whatever. So now that I'm here, I don't know how shows are chosen, or if I choose a show, or if it should be here, or if it should be back in Atlanta, or if it should be somewhere in Illinois. I don't know. So just like, I guess like first show for beginners, how they're chosen and how they, you know, does the coach do I, or what do I look for in a show?
Yeah, you'll probably want to have that conversation with your coach, and then have your coach help you choose just whether you want to travel or whether you want to do something in your town where you live, just finding something close by. But that's usually a conversation that you and your coach have first, and they can kind of tell you where you have options at.
Sweet deal.
Yeah, it's a good question though. A lot of people don't have that conversation right away.
Very good question.
Mm-hmm. And then Soraya.
Along that line really quick, I mean, we definitely could talk about, just in general, what are the different levels, amateur versus, amateur local versus, national versus pro. How do you kind of, set your goals out to begin with, because some people, it's a bucket list. Okay, I want to get on stage once. Other people are thinking, no, I really want to earn my pro card. So like, what's the best route to do that? And I think, kind of bringing in that international component, because there are some international shows that do award pro cards, at kind of like a more like regional level where you don't have to qualify to do the show, but there's like one pro card on the line.
Yeah.
So kind of talking about like the pros and cons of, doing, the international versus doing in the States. I think we could definitely like go into how the organization works in general, and like why might I pick this type of show over this type of show. I mean, I talk to people a lot about it's perfectly fine to pick something close to home so your friends and family can come. Like that might be a priority, like if that's something that's important. But if the important thing is to get in front of the national judges to get feedback for nationals, well, then that might require some travel, and then what goes into that. But that's definitely something as coaches, each one of us is working with each individual, to ask you those questions in terms of what your goals are and help you set that out. But I do think kind of a general education on that, because I actually have coaches outside of Fit Body reach out to me a lot and ask me questions because they don't know. And I'm like, okay, you guys should know this. This is your job. They'll ask me like, oh, does this show give pro cards, or do my clients need to be able to do a regional before they qualify for this? And this is ever changing. So this is the first year they've required to a qualification to go to the Arnold amateur, for example, that didn't used to have to do a show to qualify. Now you do. So these things also need to be updated as the organization changed the rules. No more points for pros.
Hey, Jamie, or I call her boss. I call her boss because she is my boss. But, she's my queen and my boss, my everything. So, and I make no bones about that. One of the things I think we could add to that discussion piece is the why aspect of what's your why for competing. And there are aspects of that. I mean, that's a really big topic, but Jamie said something there about, hey, if this is a bucket list item and you're wanting to get on stage, then staying local is a real priority for you, or should be, because you want your friends and family to be able to be there and see you on stage. So factoring all those whys, and Jamie said goals, and I think that's really the aspect of this that kind of laces into that. But just getting very clear on that why. Why are you doing what you're doing? And how that then manifests in the different topics that we've been talking about today. So, I'm looking at Danette. I know that she wants to talk about, how to manage your family and your spouse and your significant others as you're doing that. And being very clear on your why and being able to articulate that to them and have them understand why this is important to you. I think that's one of those mistakes a lot of people make, is they don't tell their significant others why they are doing what they're doing, or why this is important to you, and why it makes you feel a particular way. So those whys are really important in terms of show selection, in terms of the overall goals, in terms of your longevity in the sport, in terms of your life. So just getting very clear on that, I think, is very important.
I agree. That's a good one too. Soraya, sorry, I keep postponing your question.
No, it's fine. So it kind of
Oh no, did we lose Soraya?
I think we lost
Or
her.
am I the only one not hearing her?
I couldn't hear her
I
either.
think we lost her.
Soraya, can you hear us? No.
Hmm.
Maybe move on while she gets
Yeah.
back connected with us.
We'll come back to her. Does anyone else have a question? Consuela, do you still have another question, or is your hand just still raised?
Oh, sorry. I'll take my hand down.
You're okay. You're okay. Anybody else? You can check and see if
I have an idea.
what.
So and it ties in with that vulnerability part the other day, or the other topic that I introduced. But and I'll just throw this out there. I'm a free thinker, so I like to just spaghetti thinking and just put it up on the wall and see if it sticks. I'm wondering whether it would be helpful to have a greatest screw up or greatest mess up at a show. You know, I can tell you that there's some great stories out there, and I just wonder if getting together in a safe space and just kind of sharing the thing that maybe you're a little bit embarrassed about, or you know, what happened to you at a show, or what happened to you in a prep, or you know, what happened to you in the gym the other day, would be helpful to just kind of connect us a little bit. And that, you know, we can talk about vulnerability all day long, but until we actually demonstrate that, it's not really vulnerable. So part of the way to do that and to build some trust and community is to share, hey, this is when I screwed up, and this is what I learned from it. Because we all know that most of us have the scars to prove the lessons that we've learned over our lives. And believe me, there's some great ones to learn in this sport, in this industry. From anywhere from tanning to show day prep to heels breaking to bikini, having a wardrobe malfunction with a bikini. You know, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes in that.
I love it. Absolutely.
start?
Yes.
I can tell a story that happened this year, or 2022, that terrified the crap out of me. Mama Bear made me go wash my tan off and start all over right before finals, or right before it was like 2 hours before I had to go on stage. That was scary. She looked at me and she said, go rinse, go wash that off and start all over, because my tan was turning green. So that was really scary. That's mine.
But turned out good.
It did turn out really, really good. It was a good thing, but it was very scary.
Why does this happen? I hear from people sometimes their tan turns green, but why does it happen? Sometimes it doesn't happen most of the time.
It's just certain skin. My skin always goes green. It's just with certain products. I don't know.
Okay.
It's my luck.
All right.
Most people don't, but I am that person.
Yeah, but Corinne, I do think that's a good topic to talk about.
It's a good
is what
one,
goes
yeah.
into a great tan. I will tell you, tanning is the difference maker on stage. And Jamie, I know, has a lot of experience in this. Corinne and Natasha and Andy as well. It's a lot of great stuff to talk about the tan, DIY versus you use the host tanner, your skin preparation, you know, moisturizing, exfoliating, all the stuff that goes into that I think, you know, when you've been in this for a while, you maybe take for granted, but that might go into that show day prep of how do you get ready for the show day. So I think that's a really good topic.
We could bring on Alyssa from Protan or somebody like that to come on and talk about it. A lot of times with people turning green, it could be a number of different things. It could be, you know, just your pH balance. It could be that the product that's being used on you has turned old, or if you're doing a DIY, that if it's expired product, sometimes that can happen. Some of the host tanning companies tend to like create their own mix. So maybe they'll use like a base of Protan and then they'll be putting other products in it. And we've had issues with that sometimes because it'll work on some people, but other people, it just turns because of their pH or whatever the situation is. So I think what's important is to find what works for you and stick to it. It's one of the reasons I like the DIY, because you have the control. You're not depending on somebody else, you know, especially a host tanner that's not, if you have like, if it's Liquid Sunrays or Protan doing the spray, usually you're going to be good. They're going to have, you know, product that's not expired. They're going to have people that know how to use it properly. But some of these off-brand people that are using those companies' products tend to do their own like mixture of it, or, you know, sometimes they'll have individuals that aren't trained as well. You know, not every time, but it's just one of those things where, you know, you're kind of rolling the dice if you haven't already worked with that company before. So, I mean, there are some good ones out there, but to me, I tend to have people do the DIY more frequently than getting sprayed. Not to mention, you get to do it on your own time. You don't have to stand freezing in a room full of naked people or waiting in line for a really long time when they're backed up and running late and those kinds of things. So.
And just thinking out loud, I think what we'll try and put together is like a series on just competing for our athletes. That way we can hit all of these subjects back to back, because we can't fit them all in a call or we'll be on the call all night. So I think what the three of us will kind of figure out, we'll pick a month coming up pretty soon before we hit the season. That way we can have maybe just do a call like every Sunday, get them recorded. That way if you can't make it, that's fine. So we can go through all of these before we get knee deep into the season. So just thinking that out loud. So we'll keep
Yeah,
you guys.
Natasha, I think we could do a timeline approach where you talk to people, you know, 6 weeks out. Here's what you should be thinking about. 12 weeks out, maybe 6 weeks out, maybe 2 weeks out, and then the peak week. Yeah, that might help people add context to it.
I love that. Perfect. Thank you, Papa Bear.
I'm sorry, I'm talking way too much. This is the last, well, I'm not going to say this is the last thing I'll say, but so next week, Jamie and Hannah DeVore, Shelby Pierce, and Frida Paulson are doing a presentation at Cuties Conquering the Stage, which is Sean's company. And the presentation that they're giving would be include some case studies, and then a little bit more general principle about just some of the things to keep in mind as you're in your competition life. Some of them hit on topics we've talked about today. It'd be wonderful, I think, to have them present to this group, whether you can or cannot attend Cuties Conquering. I think, Jamie, we talked about maybe, you know, getting everybody at least a view of that presentation. So this might be a great forum to do that in as well.
And that's going on this weekend. So if anybody wants to watch, it's, you know, we're presenting, but there's a lot of incredible speakers that are going to be there. And there is an online option. I know they've sold out the tickets for the live version of the event, but it's a really, really great event and so many incredible speakers. I learn something every year, which is why I go. I love it so much. So it's going to be this coming Friday and Saturday, I believe. I don't know. I fly out Thursday, Friday and Saturday. Yes. So if you guys to go to the Cuties Conquering, I'll add the link in there for you guys. I'll do that.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I think that would be amazing, Mama Bear. Could we have you, the panel, like have you guys present again at a later time to the group.
Sorry, I realized nobody else had their hand raised, so I'm just gonna go for it. Is there a Facebook group with everyone in it ish? Is it active to use until the WhatsApp community grows?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I can put it in the message. Should we do that? Oh, Jamie got it. Oh no, she didn't. Just kidding.
That's the cuties one.
Yeah, I just put the
I'll-
cuties conquering the stage. I didn't put the Facebook there. Yeah, so we
Okay,
do have a
yeah.
private Facebook group and it's definitely active. So yes, absolutely, jump in there. And then there's also like I think it was Natasha that mentioned there's also a WhatsApp group that's the Platinum group. So you can join in either or both of those. We gave both options because not everybody's on Facebook. So, and there's interaction going on in all the places. Oh, and the other thing that you guys can do to get involved is on our website, there's an events area and it shows you all the shows that we're sponsoring. So those are all events where we'll have a booth and we'll have coaches there and athletes there. And if you want to volunteer to do some time at the booth, we do it more just so everybody gets a chance to kind of interact and get involved. So it can be a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people and just kind of interact and you get to watch the show. Usually the booth is inside. For most shows, it's inside the auditorium. So you kind of get to watch a little bit of the show and then kind of hang out the booth, talk to everybody. Usually we'll just do like short little spans of time that you're there. So if it's something you want to volunteer for, there's a volunteer form on that page on our website. So you just go to fitbodyfusion.com and pull up the events page and you can volunteer, see if there's anything in your area that you want to get involved in. And sometimes we're looking for trophy presenters and stuff like that too. So, if people volunteer a lot, that's usually we'll go out to those folks and, especially if we know they're in the area and ask if anybody wants to do that. So that can be fun too. Can you guys put the link to the join the Platinum group there instead of having to give the phone number?
Oh my gosh, that is such a good idea. Yes, I'll do that right now.
So you guys will
I've been
see
trying to
the
send it
link
to
to the
everyone.
Cuties Conquering the Stage event where you can go for that's this weekend. So if you're wanting to do it, make sure you sign up. And then you've got the private Facebook group, what Corinne just put up. And then they're going to also add a link to join the WhatsApp group if you're not already in there. That's the easiest way. Then you can just click the link and join from the link. Oh, thanks, Amber. Amber said she enjoyed being at the booth at the Nationals this year. It's fun.
Okay, I added the link to the WhatsApp group. So if you wanted to be added, just go ahead and click on it and then you can.
That is so much easier than what I was just doing. I'm like trying to put in everyone's phone numbers and it was not working.
That's why Mama Bear is Mama Bear.
Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.
Ay. Alicia, what's up? You're muted.
Yeah. Okay. This is not like a big deal, but since we're talking about WhatsApp, I was thinking we need to have a WhatsApp group for partners on show day because like I have an excellent stage husband and he is so lonely during the day. Like, and I think it would be cool if they could all connect and be like, hey, you're doing a great job and swap prep stories and just like have like, like we have our groups where we hang out and then the partners are just like, I'll be in the hotel room. So,
They need
just
like a
an
support
idea,
group.
not breaking news, just an idea.
I love that idea. I think
do
we
too.
definitely will play with that idea of how do we create an opportunity for the support people, whether it be spouses or friends or family members that are there supporting their their person, like how do they get together and meet up? Because I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I know Greg will do that. You know, he's done that many times where he'll gather the husbands together and like, you know, hang out. Because sometimes they also have questions like, oh, why are they doing this, or what's going on? Especially if it's somebody who hasn't been around the sport a whole lot. So it's kind of fun if you're around a bunch of people that do this a lot. You get to learn too.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm actually wondering if we could find an app. So I made myself a note to see if there's some kind of app. And I was thinking if there's an app we could use also for the question about being able to find people in different areas. So if people were looking for specifically for people in their areas that are on the team or that might want a workout partner or, you know, whatever, that, you know, it would be just specifically designed for that. So, you know, maybe it can regionalize people and people can opt in. So I don't know. There's got to be something out there, but I've got it on my list to search for.
Maybe we could start by putting where we are located in the WhatsApp chat. Like, for instance, I'm in New York, so if maybe one day we could just say, hey, when you join the WhatsApp, just make sure you put where you're from. So then that way everyone knows there. I don't know.
Yeah. I was even thinking the app would be a great idea, but I was thinking, I wonder if we created, say, like an East Coast WhatsApp group, West Coast, middle, and kind of like what we just did, we send the link out and we just say, if you're in these areas, you can join that group. I don't know if that, I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if that would be too difficult, but that may be a good way for us to kind of get people grouped together. I don't know.
I mean, you could almost do it by state, at least in some of the areas where there's really active certain states. But I mean, I just don't know if it's going to start to like water down and separate everybody so much that that's why I was thinking, you know, if there's just a way to kind of, we'll play around with that idea and see. Because the only thing that I love the idea of sharing in the WhatsApp where you're from, but the only thing is we lose it in the message, you know, so time goes on and new people are joining in and they haven't seen. So it's like, I want to have something that's up there forever, especially for people that are looking, you know, specifically, you know, for people to connect with.
Jamie, just to toss this up there, like you can put it in the group description in the WhatsApp group. So that's information that will be evergreen. So you'll never lose that. So anybody that joins the group, you can add it in the group description, and that's always available to anybody as they join it.
Awesome.
That'd be good. So maybe that's something we can talk about when we're together as coaches, as a team, figure that one out. All right. Does anybody have anything else? We're just right at about an hour. Nada? All right. So going forward, our next call is already on the schedule, and we already have our speaker booked. It is going to be Greg. He is, correct me if I'm wrong, and Papa Bear, I'll let you take over to kind of give a brief synopsis of what you're going to talk about. It's going to be titled Getting Clear. And so that will be the first Sunday of the month. For the most part, that's when we plan to have the calls, is the first Sunday of the month. However, when the season starts to get really active, that's why all the dates are always changing. And so that's why we always make sure, you know, we let you guys know what it is. But for the next few months, you can pencil in the first Sunday of every month. We have a call scheduled. And then we'll let you guys know what the topics are as soon as we kind of sit down and go through what we're going to do. But I will hand it over to Greg so he can let you know what he is going to chat about.
So just Jamie and I are always talking about how no matter how much information or knowledge we acquire, or how much experience we get, or how much wisdom we think we have, we find that we are asking more questions than we are finding answers. And there was a very great leader, former general officer in the Army, that told me a quote that I just have really worked to live my life by, which is, he said, the leaders of yesterday knew all the right answers. The leaders of tomorrow know all the right questions. And so over time, I've accumulated 5 questions that I routinely ask myself. In fact, we were at dinner last night and I was going into question number 4. And I won't tell you what the questions are today, because then it would be unnecessary for me to talk to you at this next talk. But they're just questions, and they're questions to ask yourself that apply to this competition world, but hopefully the bigger sphere as well, which is your life. I think that each of us gets involved in this sport because there's something in our lives that we want to get, that we want. And so the questions that I will go through are helping you to get clear on what your answers are for you. And that's really the purpose of the talk.
Well, we are looking forward to it. So that will be February, the first February. Let me look at what that date is. So that will be February 5th, same time. So 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time that we will meet. We will send out, again, we'll send out the link and a reminder as we get closer. But we thank all of you guys so much for joining us. We're excited for the new year. And yeah, if you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us on the WhatsApp group, on Instagram, on Facebook, however works for you. We are here.
Thank you guys.
Thank